Hi, everyone. So I'm here with 7, I'm going to call them tips, but really they are cons of joining a real estate team. I get a lot of questions about joining a team, especially from new agents. And before I tell you what those 7 are, let me introduce myself because I tend to forget that. My name is Ashley Harwood. I run a company called Move Over Extroverts, which is coaching and training for introverted real estate agents. And so I talk to agents all day long, and I hear a lot of them talking about joining a team, and there are a lot of pros and a lot of cons. So the next video will be all the pros of joining a team. We're going to start with the cons first. And these are just things to keep in mind if you're thinking about joining a team, questions to ask, and things to kind of be aware of. So let's dive in here. And also, this is not to say that all teams will have these issues. There's no standard really for teams. They're all a little bit different. It depends on who's running it and their systems and their beliefs and their personality and all the things. So it is not a one-size-fits-all deal by any means. But if you're thinking about joining a team, here are 7 cons. If we're going to make a pro and cons list, these are 7 cons to kind of keep in mind. And I wrote them down. All right, number 1, commission split. Obviously, you are going to be giving up more of your commission. You'll be splitting with your broker, your company, and also with the team. So that means that you'll need to just go in prepared to do more transactions and or higher price point, higher volume total to make more money. All right, number 2, you will probably still need to lead generate. A lot of agents think that joining a team means they will not have to do the work of finding business and bringing in new business. I've never met a team where that's actually the case. Usually the rainmaker and the team structure is such that more of your time is freed up because they handle more of the admin side of things, the contract to close, and they're going to expect that you use that time to go drum up more business for yourself and for the team. So joining a team 99% of the time is not a free pass to get out of lead gen. On the other hand, and this will be a pro later on in the next video, hopefully they're giving you the coaching and training you need to find ways to go find that business and you're not totally on your own. But that is a con. That is something that people are not always aware of. You'll still need to find business. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, potential conflict. This is a question to ask the rainmaker. How do you handle conflict on your team, especially if it's a larger team with a lot of people, a lot of different personalities? What's the procedure for conflict resolution? They should be able to answer that question, and you should feel comfortable with that answer. Because one of the worst things that I see happen is there is no process for conflict resolution, and then there are just all these festering bad feelings that don't get dealt with, and then it's not good. It doesn't end well. Number 4, undefined roles or vaguely defined roles. One of the most important things about being on a team is being very, very clear on what your role is. Okay, what are the other people's roles? Every single task, who is doing what? Who's in charge of this? That has to be crystal clear from day one. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart, right? So that's a question to ask. And this is assuming you're joining a team or considering joining a team as an agent. Some of these are a little bit different if you're joining on the admin side, the operations side. That's going to be a whole different thing. So I should have said that in the beginning. This is for you joining as an agent. All right. So make sure that your role is completely defined. Are you working with just sellers? Are you working with just buyers? Are you doing your own showings? Are you going to have a showing assistant and you're the buyer's agent who's only writing offers and negotiating? Like, get down to the nitty gritty of what the expectations are. All right, number 5, database. Oh, this is a big one. This is a big one. This is where so many issues arise, is around your database, your sphere. It's yours when you go into it, but what happens when you leave the team? And I say when because most of the time, agents do not stay on a team forever. Everyone likes to think that they will, go in with the best intentions, but it's rare that that happens. So that's another question to ask. What happens to my database if I leave? Ask that question up top before you say yes and sign a contract and get into a relationship with somebody. What happens when I leave? What happens to the people that I brought in from day one? And then what happens to the people that I meet and add to my database while I'm on this team? Do those belong to the team or do they belong in my database? How does that work? And if they belong to the team, what happens if they close a piece of business after I leave? But I'm the one who had that relationship, but they stayed with the team. All these scenarios should be hashed out in the beginning and put in writing. All right, so that's number 5. Number 6, non-compete clause. Are you going to be required to sign a non-compete? So if you do leave the team, will there be a period of time where you cannot sell real estate on your own or for a competitor? Will there be a certain geographic boundary? Good questions to ask. And then lastly, number 7, expectation of tenure. Have that conversation. How long, Miss Rainmaker, do you think that I will be in this role? How do you see this role growing? How can I grow into this role? What opportunities are there for me in the future? What does your org chart look like? Do you have a big enough vision so that I can stay with you on this team if it's working for both of us for the next 30 years? Or am I joining this team simply to learn some things and get mentorship and then go off on my own? Now, that's not a bad thing if that's your intention, but it should be discussed up front with the person who's running the teams that they know what to expect. And so you know what they expect of you. All right, so those are my 7 tips, 7 cons for joining a team, things to keep in mind. Stay tuned for the next video where we will talk about the pros. Thanks.